Welcome, Leisure Gamers, to the 9th episode. Are we in the 9th episode already?
Yep, it's already there.
Wow. Well, anyway, welcome to the 9th episode. My name's Luke Bryce, and I'm joined with Alan Edens.
Hey, how's it going, Leisure Gamers?
And Sunshine Cinerath.
What the sheep?
So, the people that are listening to this podcast, I would like to announce that you are listening to it on LeisureGamer.com. So this is the first podcast that we're hosting on our own website.
Say what?
So after you listen to the podcast, or maybe while you listen to the podcast, you can kind of poke around the website, and it's not exactly a grand launch, but kind of like a soft launch, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. So we've been slowly moving our reviews and Gamer Kitchen and podcast over to LeisureGamer.com, so everything's hosted on there now. But in podcast news, I guess what else is exciting is if you have an iPad or an iPhone or an something, you can actually go to iTunes and subscribe to the podcast there. So that's another way you can get our content.
We're moving on up.
Yep. Moving on up. It was quite a process to get it on iTunes, but it worked.
Yeah.
You know Apple with Apple type things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we'd like to thank the people who helped you walk through that, right?
Yeah, big shout out to, there's another startup website called Pixels or Death, and I think pixelsordeath.com is their URL. You can check those guys out.
I thought you said pickles or death.
That would be severe.
Yeah.
So, see, now people are going to go to both websites. They're going to Pixels or Death or Pickles or... just to see what site that is.
Oh, we got to patent that name.
Pickles or Death.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a Gamer Kitchen gone wrong.
Horribly wrong, yeah.
Horribly wrong.
Yeah, so they helped me set it up. Actually, I talked with them all the way back in October when we first did the podcast, and I've just been procrastinating moving over to iTunes because I knew that it would be a hassle.
Mm.
So we ran out of space on Podomatic, and instead of paying for money or paying for more space on Podomatic, I was just like, hey, you know what? We should just buy our own bandwidth and buy our own space because it's cheaper that way and more fun.
Definitely.
So that's what made the move. So anyway, yep, go check out Leisure Gamer.
Yep, LeisureGamer.com. Check it out.
Yes.
It's slick. It's nice.
Slick.
Yeah, it looks fantastic.
Yep. I'm just so excited about it. So I can't think about
I
anything
can
else.
tell you're so excited. It's just, oozing with excitement.
But last time on our podcast, in the last 10 minutes, we flipped a phone. Do you remember that?
Yes, I remember that.
We had to
Alan
decide
flipped
if we were
the
going to talk about Star Wars or Lord of the Rings, and we had Alan flip his cell phone.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And the Star Wars people used the Force to control the phone.
Are you the type of person who, if you podcast, Alan, you forget what you said on the podcast?
Probably, because I don't know, hate to listen to myself too much.
So you never go back and just listen to it?
Yeah, it seems very narcissistic to keep listening to yourself. Like, oh yeah,
That's
I sound
understandable.
so smart.
Well, see, I never have that problem. Ooh.
Yep, we know.
Oh.
We know.
Yeah.
So anyway, Alan flipped his phone. Star Wars won out. However, we never got a chance to talk about Lord of the Rings, so we wanted to do that today.
Mm-hmm.
But then after we talk about Lord of the Rings, well, maybe I shouldn't give that away.
Ooh, keep it for the next part of the book.
All right, I won't give it away.
No more
Anyway.
literal transitions.
Yes.
I know, I need to stop doing that. Anyway, so let's talk about Lord of the Rings.
Mhm.
All right.
I had mentioned last time you guys needed to go watch the Hobbit trailer, and you guys had all passed the test already.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It was a great
watched it
trailer.
already. Very excited.
Yeah. But I played and reviewed Lord of the Rings, War in the North, and Sunshine had played the game with me at PAX we probably played like all of 7 minutes or something. Very
Yeah.
short.
It was short.
But it was
Wasn't
much
bad.
further in the game than it was much further in the game at PAX than what I played in the first hour. So it's kind of good
Sure.
to see, remember that end game content and then come back and play it from the
Mhm.
start.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, the review covers basically the gist of the game. it was exciting to get back into the Lord of the Rings universe. I should say it's Lord of the Rings universe, but it's most specifically Peter Jackson's universe.
It's all, the look and feel is all based off of the movies, right?
Yeah. I think that's something good to point out because I don't know if this day and age you could actually do a Lord of the Rings game not set in his universe, just because it's so iconic now.
Yeah, it's like the visual standard.
Absolutely.
I think right when the movies were coming out, because I did a little research on these games, on prior games as I was writing the review, there was a few games that came out. There might have been some real-time strategies right as the movies were coming out that weren't set in the same universe. But I couldn't remember them without looking at the list, so that kind of shows that his universe has won out over theirs.
Right.
There was a lot that were produced, though, like the Two Towers, the Return of the King, and then there was like Battle for Middle-earth, and then the Third Age, and then the MMO. But is the MMO set in his universe? It's different, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's just based off the books, not the movies, technically. But it was obviously, you can tell it was heavily influenced. Yeah. They just get away with it.
Maybe I stand corrected then. I said you couldn't get away in this day and age not setting your game in his universe, but I guess Lord of the Rings Online works. Kinda. A big emphasis on kinda.
But
Yeah.
obviously, you know, everyone loves his universe, and who isn't excited to see The Hobbit? That's going to be sweet.
I know, with all the cast members that return.
I will say that was one nice thing when I watched the review was I was like, oh yeah, that and that. I forgot all these different characters and a few things here and there about the books and the movies. I'm like, oh yeah. So, if you need a refresher on the movies, just watch the review.
Oh man, it pumps you up. I mean,
It
seriously,
does.
if you do want to get excited for like getting back into the swing of things, I would definitely check this game out because it will get you excited for Lord of the Rings again.
So one thing that I was curious about, and that I don't know if you talked too much about it in your review, but the multiplayer offerings of it. I mean, because obviously at its core, it has a big multiplayer facet, like the 3 main heroes and, you know, the long quest line they go on, and like how is that in the game?
Yeah, I would say multiplayer is a big part of it, and I touched on it just in the review lightly, but I kind of mentioned in other spots. The reason I didn't devote like a whole section to it is because the online play was really, really similar to just single player, because in single player you have 2 companions with you. Well, in multiplayer you have 2 companions with you, except they're just, of course, controlled by humans.
For better or worse, right?
But yeah, you have 3 players total, and I would say, do you remember Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance?
Oh yeah.
I would say this game strongly reminds me of that game. Just kind of
It's
like
like
a top-down hack and slash.
Right, yeah.
Although this
Classic.
wasn't top-down, but
Ever since Gauntlet.
oh yeah, that's
It's been
true.
the same formula.
That's true. Well, this was influenced by Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance, and Dark Alliance was influenced by Gauntlet Legends.
Yep.
How could I forget?
Oh man.
You and I go way back with Gauntlet Legends.
Yeah. Talk about retro gaming or remembering the past.
But anyway, I guess I'm getting off topic. Yes, so you can play couch co-op, so 2 players can play on the one screen, and then you can actually host a third one online. So 2 players can play on one screen, host a third, or all 3 can just be online. I think it was a slight detail, but I mentioned that the mage, or the lore master, the elven girl, she was pretty hard to play solo, at least in the beginning, because she didn't have any skills. But
Yeah.
one of her skill trees is restoration, while the other ones are more damage dealing. But I would definitely say she's more rewarding to play as a support class when you have other players tanking the damage for you. So like either another player playing the dwarf or the ranger, so they can keep the aggro off you.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Sure.
But then what was interesting is if you didn't play her and you had the computer controller, she would start using abilities that you didn't even really have access to when you were the same level. So it's like, why would I ever play her when the computer can just heal me?